All right, welcome to Sports Guys. Another on-campus review, another episode where we're going to talk about the weekend's college sports, mostly college football, some college soccer, some incredible things happening over the weekend. How you doing, Robbie?
Doing great. Like you said, a lot going on in the sports world. Trying to keep up with all the different sports. There's track, stuff going on, swimming, volleyball, field hockey, you name
Yeah,
it. It's
and,
pretty big.
and the reason it's so big is because all the fall sports, it's all their championships. All the conference tournaments are over now. Now they're into the NCAA's. I was
Yeah.
just talking to you about UNC soccer. They won today on the 11th penalty kick against
I
North
know.
Texas in round one, or they could have been out. So it's pretty exciting what's going on now. But on the college football side, a lot of great games we got to talk about. So that'll be fun.
For sure.
So tonight, guys, we're going to do kind of a simplified format for the program. We're going to go through the scores from the weekend. We're going to break them down for you, and then we're going to look at the projected playoff bracket if the season ended today, which of course it doesn't. We still have another week left. And then we're also going to look forward at the games next week and some of the big top 25 games that are coming up, including our Virginia Cavaliers against Virginia Tech. And I wanted to just do a shout out to Greg Presley, who wrote us an email this week and said, you guys should really look forward at some of the great matchups coming up too, and not just look backwards all the time. So, Greg, we're going to do that tonight. So look forward to it.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback. It's super helpful.
Any big themes you saw from the weekend?
Most of the big guys held serve, put big time matchups in the top 25. Not very many surprises, but some pretty good football.
You
Definitely,
know, if
definitely, it
it
was an awesome weekend for football.
was a lot of the big boys played kind of minor to moderate programs and blew them out. That's what I saw. And we just had one big upset, and we'll get into it. But Georgia Tech goes down to Pitt, and Pitt played really well. Their quarterback, their entire team really came to play that day. And
Yeah.
Georgia Tech really fought hard. I have to give them credit in the second half, especially. They tried to come back, but Pitt really wanted that one. And so we'll get into that game. But for the most part, it was a lot of blowouts. It felt like games that we used to see in week one and week two
It's
in
funny
other
you say
seasons.
that because I was thinking about this yesterday when I was watching all the games. I said, man, there's just not that many great matchups. And I
Mhm.
thought about it. I said, that's by design. If you think about it, if you're Georgia and you know you have to play Alabama, you want to play them in the first couple of weeks when they don't really hold it against you if you
Mhm.
lose.
That's
But you
true.
don't want to play Alabama in the last couple of weeks and eliminate yourself from not only the SEC championship game, but probably the playoff. If you lose a
Mhm.
game in the last 4 or 5 weeks, you're
Mhm.
toast. You're not going. So,
Although we do have some big matchups next weekend, and we'll go through those. There are some big ones that could really have ramifications. Texas, Texas A&M, that kind of game.
oh yeah, well, that's the thing. Like you do have the big matchups right at the end between in-state rivals,
Hmm.
but you're not going to have Florida, Georgia. You're going to have Georgia, Georgia Tech. You're going to have Virginia, Virginia Tech. Those kind of
Ohio,
in-state,
Ohio State, Michigan, this next
yeah.
weekend.
North
Hmm.
Carolina, North Carolina State,
Hmm.
Oregon, Oregon State, or whatever. So
Yeah,
you're
that's
going to
true.
have those in-state rivalry matchup ending of the season games. Some of those are great matchups because they happen to be good teams, but most of the time it's one heavy favorite. But you throw the records out in that blood match because these two teams really don't like each other because they're usually in-state fighting for recruits and
Mhm.
everything else. So
Do you know who they?
it's an interesting week.
They're saying Virginia is going to get if they win out and they go to the college football playoff.
What's that?
Oregon. I was like,
Mm,
oof,
nice.
that would be painful.
Nice. Let's go.
We'll see. We'll see how they do. All right. Well, let's
Yeah,
go ahead and dive into the
too early.
scores right now. You ready to roll? Here we go.
Yes.
Let's start with a call out tonight for tonight's sponsor, and that is DraftKings. DraftKings has been a longtime partner of ours, and we love working with them. And I really have enjoyed playing with DraftKings this entire football season. It's been a lot of fun. I have had varying success every weekend, but I really enjoyed their interface. You can bet as little as $5. You get up to $100 match when you first sign up for DraftKings and deposit money. How you doing, Robbie? What do you think of DraftKings?
Great. Love DraftKings. I do the low end betting myself. I really enjoy doing games that I think are interesting and base it on whatever knowledge that I have about the game and the matchups. I certainly think they do an awesome job. They're real trustworthy. They're easy to very user friendly. I love the way their graphics are and their setup, and they always have cool specials sometimes. So I enjoy it. It's sort of like one of those fun little dabble hobby things, and I really appreciate their support of what we do here. And they're an awesome partner and really good group.
What do you think about the juice it adds to the game? I mean, it really gives it that
It
little
does.
extra. I don't know what percentage it is, but it definitely, makes you watch it a little bit closer.
I have a little rule that I don't bet on games that I care about, meaning I love one of the teams or something because it sort of skews my analytical abilities sometimes. But for the most part, it's really cool to really analyze deeply who's playing well, who's healthy, what kind of momentum there is, what matchups look like. There's so much cool stuff, and they give you this platform to see if you're right.
It's really true. And, it gives you that same feeling that you get when you get with fantasy football. And of course,
Yeah,
DraftKings has daily fantasy football. They've got weekly, they've got the entire season. You can play fantasy football on them, or you can just place bets. So, whatever you would prefer, go check out DraftKings.com or download their app and deposit today. Have a
check
good
them
one.
out.
All right, so this is week 13 college football scoreboard. This is our top 25. You can see game one right out of the gate. Ohio State blows Rutgers out. They did struggle a little bit in the first half, Robbie. It was 14-3 at half, and everybody was kind of like, where's this vaunted offense? And then it just absolutely took over in the second half. The big time NFL receivers, Sayin, Bo Jackson, Rutgers
Well,
couldn't get,
I don't
get
I don't
anything
know if
going.
it's big time NFL receivers. I think they struggled because they had their NFL receivers out. Both
Yeah,
Tate and Jeremiah Smith were out. So I
true.
think that there was a little bit of, nervousness and a little bit of unsureness and all that stuff in your first quarter of the game, maybe that kind of thing. Giving life to Rutgers temporarily
Hmm.
while Ohio State figured it out and started to pound the ball with Bo Jackson, and then they were starting to hit some plays. But if I think if you had Tate and Jeremiah Smith, the
Yeah.
defenses would have looked a lot different.
Well, just imagine 42-9, and they didn't have their top two receivers. Imagine what it would have
Right.
been. But they had
Yeah.
their tight end step up really big, and also a couple of the third and fourth receivers were pretty good, I thought.
No question.
So, they're just so deep. It's crazy.
It's not surprising that Ohio State is loaded, but these certainly were step downs in terms of experience. A lot of names I've never heard of. So
Hmm.
clearly these guys are probably 5 stars,
Hmm.
waiting their
Right.
turn, but 4-star guys. But it's Ohio State, and the way they're blocking gives San a nice amount of time, and the defense is setting them up nicely with lots of pressure and things like that. So at the
Hmm.
end of the day, Ohio State's going to roll over a Rutgers with the best players out or not, doesn't matter.
That's true. So this sets up the big matchup next weekend we just mentioned, which is Ohio State 11-0, number one in the country. Has Michigan on the slate every single year. That's the biggest game. That's the game when you come into Ohio State. You say first we have to beat Michigan, then we have to win the Natty.
Yeah.
And so, and they haven't done it in 4 years. They've lost four straight to Michigan, including last year when they won the Natty. So, what's your thought, just kind of previewing, looking forward to that game? I just have to think Ohio State's going to be really up for this game.
Last year was such a shock that they didn't win that because Michigan didn't have an offense pretty much that
Hmm.
I no longer look at uh one team is better than the other, so they're clearly going to win. It's not going to be like that.
Hmm.
Ohio State might romp them because they're kind of got some pent up rage, but I'll be honest, that's one where you throw the record books out because they just play each other so tough.
Yeah, because
So,
you look on the other flip coin. I mean, Michigan's going to be just as pumped up. They've got a
yeah,
freshman quarterback who's played pretty well this year, and they got a team that's sitting in 9-2, and they
they're
have
licking
everything
their
to play
chops.
for. Yeah, they're trying to get into the college football playoff themselves. So,
Yeah.
they kind of need to win this one too. So I'm really looking forward to that game. I think that's going to be a highly watched game by the whole country. So
And boy, they look good this week against Maryland.
they did. It's going to be a
So,
great game.
yeah,
It's going to
gonna
feel
be
like a
good.
playoff game. Yeah. This next one, I don't know why it even happened. Why is Texas A&M playing
I don't
Samford
know.
1-11? And
It
I
has
look
to
at
be about money and TV revenue, but it
yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
This is the kind of game that in the old days would have been in week 1 and week 2. It's kind of the tune-ups, almost like a
That's right.
preseason game. Yeah.
That's right.
Marcel Reed, 10 for 15, 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he basically didn't throw it much until he got down the goal line, pretty much. So anything you can take away from this one other than just try not to get injured and move on to the next game against Texas, your big rival?
I mean, not really. The stats are, they had four different people throwing the ball, A&M. So I mean, they definitely were using different options. They want to see different plays in action against real defenses, but that's not the kind of opponent that they're going to be facing pretty soon. So,
Mm-hmm.
no, I think that they had a pretty balanced attack. They had a lot of different creative plays on offense. Defensively, they only got one sack, so there's a lot of things they can work on. They did get 11
Mm-hmm.
tackles for loss, but that's
Mm-hmm.
clearly a little disappointing. If you're on that defense, you want to put up some stats,
You would think they would because Samford's offensive line can't hold up to a Texas A&M
That's right.
defense. That just doesn't
But I
happen.
mean, look at some of the stats: 22
Mm-hmm.
first downs versus 3, 0 for
Mm-hmm.
15 on third down for
Mm-hmm.
Samford, 0 for
Right.
15, and
Right.
7 for 15 for A&M. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, these stats, 228 passing yards versus 46,
Mm-hmm.
247 rushing versus 31. It's just an absolute wipeout. And
Mm-hmm.
really shouldn't happen. I mean, there's no reason to see that game where you could get your best players hurt.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
You could have played all the second stringers and won this game quite
there's
easily.
another element too. I'm not sure if you're A&M, you want to get all confident playing a Samford and then have to turn around and go play Texas.
I thought about that. I was watching a little bit of this game and I thought to myself, how does this get them ready for Texas? I don't
It
understand.
doesn't.
They're going to be pushed next week.
They're going to have a
So,
massive offensive line to go up against.
yeah.
They're going to have, Wisner running the ball. They're going to have Arch, who's really coming around. He's not
Yep.
great yet, but he's decent now.
Boy, he had a
Um,
good game on Saturday, I'll tell
Good
you.
wide receivers. They have a creative play calling, and they're kind of rolling. Texas is rolling, and
Mm-hmm.
A&M beat up on Sanford. I don't know that it really
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
doesn't really help them do much.
I'm excited about that one next week, though. We'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, me
Georgia,
too.
Georgia has another tune-up themselves. They play 1-10 Charlotte, UNC
Yeah,
Charlotte,
unnecessary game.
35-3. Everyone got touches. Everyone got some pretty nice plays in this game, but for the most part, it felt like in the second half they were just kind of mailing it in. They only scored 7 points, shut out Charlotte. So again, anything you can take from this one?
Not a lot. Not a lot. Just they never were really. I mean, they scored 14 points in the first quarter and second quarter. They were just kind of running over them, and I checked in on this a few times. It really didn't feel close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and I wonder.
Categories.
I have to wonder about the Charlotte program. There have been ups and downs. They've had previous years where they, got bowl eligible, went to bowls, and they just seem to have collapsed this season. It's been sad to watch.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, they
Georgia
really,
had 30 first downs. Charlotte had 7.
yeah,
Third down efficiency, Georgia was 4 for 10, and Charlotte was 1 for 11.
yeah.
It wasn't.
Not a
wasn't
contest. So again,
really.
our theme this week, of course, is the big boys are winning, and they're playing really bad programs for the most part, setting up some great matchups next week.
Yeah,
So
there
this
were some
game
good games
was
for sure. Just we've started with the big boys, and they kind of beat the heck out of some lessers. But the next one,
this next one was a big matchup. I mean, this was one we
yeah,
were really looking forward to. I thought it was a really good game, and Oregon
yeah,
wins 42-27. USC definitely acquitted themselves pretty well. Maeva had a really nice game.
yep,
Oregon was very efficient on offense. and they do have a couple things on defense to be concerned about. They give up a lot of yards to USC. But any thoughts about this one? They did
Yeah.
go out to a 28-14 lead at halftime.
So I watched this one pretty diligently. I was very focused on this game. I knew that this was probably the game of the week, and it was, I think. Um, you know, I thought Dante Moore looked really good,
He
very
did.
efficient. Um, if I remember right, that pick wasn't even his fault.
It's right. It got
It
deflected.
got it got tipped. So
And
um,
man, he made some big boy throws in this game. He made a couple to
yeah,
the back of the end zone that were caught. He really looked like an NFL quarterback in this game. It
I
was
was
wild.
impressed. I was impressed with them, Oregon.
Hmm.
I will say USC played them hard. I mean, if you
He
look at the
did.
stats, there were moments where USC was moving the ball on them and then something would go wrong. They'd either
Hmm.
mess up on a third down conversion. Um, I felt like Oregon was a little better than USC, but it
They
wasn't
were.
dramatic. It wasn't dramatic.
Hmm. Maeva ends up having to throw it over 40 times, which shows
Yeah,
you they were down most of the game, which they were.
it's not good.
Um, but had a good game though. I thought he looked sharp.
Both teams had a lot of penalties.
Hmm.
SC had 8 penalties for 103 yards. That's a lot of yardage. And Oregon was worse, 11 for 130. So
That's
that's
right.
like kind of keeping your opponent in the game a little bit.
To me, this is the kind of game you should be trying to play at the end of the year. Not because it
Yeah,
would hurt you in the standings, but
gets you
because you're
ready.
trying to get tuned up for the playoff.
Yeah.
And this was a really good contest, I
I
thought.
would say that if I had to point to one thing that gave Oregon the edge, it was their running game.
Yeah, for sure,
Their running game was awesome.
it's true. And their
And
defense was a
USC's
lot better.
wasn't. So, but yeah, Noah
Oregon's
Whitting,
defense was slightly better. It felt like their defense could make some plays, whereas USC's was not great. So
yeah, Noah Whittington looked great.
he did. He did. This kid Hines was really good for USC. He really had
Yeah,
a huge day. So I see him playing on Sundays. That was
yeah,
a great
yeah.
game. It was a lot of fun to
Anytime.
watch. This next one, there were a lot of guys at College Game Day on that desk, when they do their picks at the end of the show, that were picking Missouri to have the upset in this game. And they were saying because Oklahoma, although they have a great defense, we know that their offense struggles. And they were feeling like Missouri could put up enough points to win. And what we saw was, in my opinion, one of the top three defenses in college football came to play in this game. Oh, my goodness. Missouri just couldn't do anything, and it was really pretty wild to watch. So Oklahoma wins again and is looking like they're tuned up for the playoff.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
your
I will
take on?
say that the first quarter, it looked like the defenses were dominating the offenses.
Mm-hmm.
And then something kind of popped for Oklahoma in the second quarter, and they scored a couple of quick touchdowns, and then they just kind of started to take control.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought Mateer looked very good
You did.
overall. He led the team in rushing, 18 for 60 yards. He definitely had some important runs to keep drives alive and get first downs. Um, the Oregon defense, I mean, excuse me, Oklahoma defense to me was probably the difference a little bit.
He was. They
They
were
had four
interesting.
sacks and they
Mm-hmm.
felt really like ferocious. I remember there were a couple of times where they were blitzing their linebackers and they came flying in. Kind of reminded me of some of those guys, those USC teams where the linebackers were just, you could tell they were headed for the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's
And
right.
it just, I don't know. There were some very impressive pressures.
Prabula is a really good quarterback for Missouri,
Yeah,
and both of his interceptions were on pressures. He got hit right when he
yeah,
threw it, and they just kind of
yeah,
floated
he
right into
did.
the guy's hands. So Oklahoma really earned, in my opinion, all the pressure they got on him, and also the turnovers they got.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah,
showed why they're
it
just a
was a
relentless
battle.
defense.
It didn't, Missouri wasn't going to go down quietly,
Hmm.
and Oklahoma definitely had to keep punching him in the mouth until they went quiet. But there were two picks, and those were important turnovers to stop drives that Missouri could have turned into points. And but Missouri dominated in time of possession and total yardage. So I mean, their offense definitely wasn't doing amazing, but it got enough done against that tough defense. But then Oklahoma's defense would rise up and do something. So it was pretty cool. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. It was low scoring, so if you love offense, it wasn't your kind of game, but
I'll tell you, for them to shut out this really good Missouri team with a really
yeah,
solid quarterback and a good running game in the second half, that was impressive.
for sure.
It really was.
That was a bend but don't break and then opportunistic
Yeah.
attacking
I
defense.
think this defense gives them a shot in the playoff. I really do. It's that fearsome.
Yeah. Mateer is mostly good, and so I think he gives you a shot too. Sometimes
Yeah,
he's a little bonehead errors, but
completely agree. Yeah, Oklahoma, very impressive. This was a great win for them. This game, Notre Dame 70, Syracuse 7. Of course, they're playing a Syracuse team that is essentially down to second and third stringers at almost every position. So it really wasn't a fair match. Their quarterback's
yeah,
been out now for 5 weeks, and of course you have Jeremiah Love just going absolutely crazy in this game.
yeah, he went
171
wild.
yards, 3 touchdowns. Notre Dame had 2 pick sixes in the first quarter on back-to-back plays.
Yeah, yeah, it was
So,
insane.
what are your thoughts about this one? Same thing. I mean, you would think that they'd be playing an ACC opponent and it would be a tough match, but didn't feel like this is anything more than a tune-up.
There was no area where I felt like Notre Dame was outclassed. In fact, 70-7, I feel like the score doesn't tell the story. It was worse than that. In fact, Syracuse had to score at the end to get their seven. So it was
I know.
just,
I know.
it was one of the biggest beatings I've seen this year.
I don't think I've seen an ACC
It
contest that bad in a
it
long
might be
time.
the worst beating I've watched this year,
Yeah.
maybe.
Between two ACC schools, that doesn't happen. You don't
And
get
I like
seven.
Syracuse overall. Like I think they're a pretty decent team. They're a little down this year, but they're pretty good overall.
Yeah,
They definitely always have NFL talented players in different positions. So, but I always cringe when your quarterback is your top rusher.
that's right.
And
Yeah.
Joseph Filardi was a top rusher at 33 yards, and
So they were
he had
saying that Jeremiah Love in this game might have gotten himself into Heisman contention now,
yeah,
at least
oh
at
yeah,
least to get invited to New York. I think he might. I think he might get invited to New York, be one of those five guys
I
who
think
sits
so.
up on
I
the
think he's
stage.
he's a special running back.
I doubt he's going to win it, but
Why not?
I mean, it's
Who's gonna
possible.
who's gonna beat him out?
Yeah, it's possible. Do you think he's worked himself into kind of a top 10 pick in the draft position? Because he'll be going in the draft in April.
Probably.
Yeah.
He'll probably be the only running back taken in the top half of the draft.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of teams realize that you really need a star running back to keep your quarterback healthy.
It feels like he could be a franchise guy for somebody, some team that
Yeah,
really needs a great running back,
yeah.
like a Saquon Barkley type. So they
Saquon
get
Barkley,
the job
yeah,
done, and obviously was not much of a contest, but they
no,
keep rolling. This
wasn't
is
close.
another one that felt like a week one, week two old matchup. Alabama, Eastern Illinois.
Yeah,
How consistent can you be then to score 14 points in every quarter? And Ty Simpson. I didn't think Simpson actually played very well. He had 2 picks.
yeah.
They just
He made
ran it
some
down their
mistakes.
throats. The offensive line just beat on them, and there was huge holes. They had 3 running backs have huge days. And any thought about this one?
Shouldn't have happened. I mean, these are the matchups where you just scratch your head. I mean, if you're an odds maker and you're talking about the line and everything, that's fine. But if you're talking about who's going to win the game, it's not it's not close.
Did you see what the
But
line was in this game?
um, I don't remember what it
It
was.
was it was minus 49 and a half, and they covered it. I
Wow.
mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Ty Simpson was asked to do very much. He did throw some picks, but
Yeah. No, I'm not overly concerned for him. I just
Yeah.
didn't think he had a particularly great game and
I
the
think they
150.
took the opportunity to really run a lot of different running backs
Hmm.
because they really need to get their running game going.
Right.
And so they ran the ball quite a number of times. They ran the
That's
ball
right.
49 times.
That's right.
So, I mean, their goal was to use this as a tune-up for their running game.
For sure.
You know,
They
their
got back on the
defense looked pretty good. Yeah.
got back on the winning ledger. That's all you can say here. So the next game was one of the other marquee games of the week. We had a couple of them, and this was one, BYU Cincinnati. That
Yeah.
same game day group that I talked about earlier, they were picking Missouri to possibly upset. A lot of them were picking Cincinnati. It was at home in Cincinnati, and they were thinking that Cincinnati, with Sorsby, who's a really good quarterback, and they'd had a couple bad losses lately, they might be really up for this one to try to play a great BYU team. And they were picking Cincinnati. 4 out of the 5 did. And I thought to myself, I don't think so. I think
Not
BYU
me.
is a better team. And so that just didn't happen. BYU is really this good. I mean, they're
They're a
playoff.
very, very good team. They lost last week. Okay, fine, but they're a very good team. I would have bet your house on it.
Oh, thanks. So what do you
I'm just
see in the
kidding. No, but
stats?
I would have said I would have put some money down on DraftKings on that one.
So this is one of these two Big 12 marquee matchups. We'll talk about the Utah one in a second. But what do you see in the stats on this one?
Bear Bachmeier had a very efficient game. They didn't do anything risky with him. They ran the ball extremely well, like they always do, except last week. They had an anomaly week last week, and so you didn't
This
want to play
kid,
him.
Martin, did you see what he had?
LJ
222
Martin
yards.
had 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Bachmeier had 46 yards and a touchdown, and he's your quarterback.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that, and then Martin also had 44 yards receiving. So they had a really nice performance out of him. And I feel like BYU has been one of my favorite teams that I've watched this year. And I was very puzzled by last week's performance. But at the end of the day, they were better than Cincinnati by a good
Mhm.
amount.
Mhm.
And they should win this game most of the time.
Yep. Yep. Although Cincinnati's a very good team, but BYU's better.
Cincinnati's good, but I think they got a little over inflated.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So
But look at
BYU,
the rushing stats, 265 to 87
that's right.
and
So
38
BYU,
minutes of time of possession versus 21.
right, right. So
And
BYU takes care of business, and they're going to go to the Big 12 championship game now.
yeah,
Yep. The other big game of consequence is the one just below it, and that is Utah, Kansas State. I thought this was the most entertaining game of the day.
very wild game. That
It
was the
was
best game of the
long,
weekend. Yeah.
back and forth, back and forth. Kansas State really was on fire in this game. They had a huge lead at
Man,
halftime,
Kansas
and
State put up a fight.
they were unbelievable. And Utah could not afford to lose this game because for them, they're hanging on by their fingernails for a chance at trying to win the Big 12 and then try to get into the playoff. They absolutely had to win this game. And they find a way to get it done at the end, 51-47. And you talk about some offense in this game. My goodness.
I think Joe Jackson got on the radar screen as a draft pick because of this performance.
300 yards
Twen-
rushing almost.
24 carries for 293 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wrecking machine.
You know
That's a
what's
Cam
interesting?
Scatabo kind of stat line.
What's interesting about that, Robbie, you point that out, is that earlier in the season, they were saying Utah had a top 5 defense in college football, and it sure didn't look like it on Saturday. They
Hmm.
just got torched.
Gave up a
And
lot
so,
of rushing yards.
so I have to think I'm a little concerned if I'm on Utah's coaching staff. How do we go into championship weekend with this defense? I don't know.
It's
Like,
concerning. Yeah.
they found a way to get it done, but man, that was entertaining to watch. I watched a lot of this game, and it was fun.
I think the biggest thing that you have to look at is why were we so soft at stopping the run?
Yeah.
You know,
And I think
total
Kansas,
Kansas State had 472 yards rushing.
wow, 500 yards
That's
rushing almost.
insane. I've
I
never seen
know.
a stat line like that
In
ever
a loss. In a
in a
loss.
loss. In a loss.
I
Yeah.
know. Absolutely crazy.
472 yards rushing.
So some of your, your benchmarks you always talk about on this program didn't
Yeah.
actually hold in this game because anybody who gets that kind of rushing yards usually wins almost every time.
Yeah. And they also it was close in the turnover battle. It was even in the turnover battle.
Hmm.
It was real close in time of possession. And yeah, I mean, Utah was throwing the ball a decent amount and running the ball. They were pretty balanced. And
I
it
mean, if
really
you
it
look
was
at
a
it
shootout. I mean, it was a shootout.
was.
It really was.
And so we talked about the negative for Utah, but if you look at the positive, their offense is really clicking right now. And
Yeah.
so that's one thing they go into the championship weekend with is they can really score some points. So pretty fun to watch. I'll tell you, that game was great. This next
It was
game had a lot
a
of
great one.
consequences for Miami because they're also hanging on by their fingernails trying to get in with two
Yeah.
really bad losses this year that really shouldn't have happened. And they took care of business against Virginia Tech, who's dealing with an interim head coach before Franklin comes. Franklin was on the sideline, though, and listening over headphones. So that was kind of cool to see, but was not coaching. So, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah. Basically, Beck is awesome unless he's bad. So he's awesome in almost every game unless he has a bad game. And I know
And
that
you know,
that doesn't sound very intelligent, but he really struggles in a few games a year really badly and looks awful.
and
But
you know what?
mostly
What it
Carson
is?
Beck is good and he's putting up 4 touchdowns and lots of yardage and he had a nice game again. So
Do you know what it
27
is?
of 32, 4 touchdowns and a 95.3 QBR. I think that was the highest QBR in the country.
I personally believe he is the Jared Goff of college football. You know, he plays great when you give him a nice, clean pocket with no pressure. When you get
Yeah.
pressure on him, he throws it up and he makes a lot of mistakes. And so he's a guy who really needs a great offensive line to be successful.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd compare him to Jared Goff, but I see what you're saying. He definitely wants a clean pocket, and he
Yep.
can light you up from a clean pocket.
Yep.
Miami's, done a nice job overall of protecting him, and that's why they have a really good record. I mean, 9-2 is nothing to sneeze at,
True.
and they've had a couple of tough losses, but they're doing great. I mean, they have one of the best receivers in the country, Malachi Tony,
Yeah.
and they have
I love
weapons.
him. I love him. I'm wondering though, what do
Also,
you think of Malachi Tony as a pro prospect? Because he's so small.
I think
I,
he's going to make it. I think he's fast and he's a playmaker, and I think he has enough film to where he's worth a fourth or fifth round pick easily.
I think of him as kind of like a slot guy.
Yeah,
I think he's slot. He's small. He's quick. He'd be
yeah,
really good in crossing patterns.
yeah.
No, I think he'll definitely make it. I'm just not sure. I'm trying to pin on what kind of wide receiver he's going to be at the next level. But man, he's fantastic at the college level for sure.
Lad McConkey or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Kind of a slot guy, quick slot guy.
Somebody that just gets a lot of receptions every game.
So
Doesn't
Miami
necessarily
stays
get an 80-yard touchdowns all the time, but lots of
right. So
receptions.
Miami stays in contention. They're barely hanging on. Doesn't look like they're going to be there for the ACC championship game, and so they're kind of going to need a miracle to get into the playoff. But they give
I think it's
themselves that
50-50 for them.
yeah that 5% chance to maybe get in. Next game, Vanderbilt plays Kentucky. Kentucky had been kind of coming on lately, and Vanderbilt just smashed them.
Yeah.
Pavia, maybe his best game as a pro. He had almost 500 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. He was unstoppable in this game. It was crazy, so accurate, and he throws a really great deep ball. So what do you take out of this one? How do you think Vanderbilt tore Kentucky apart?
Well, I think Pavia's numbers speak for themselves. 33 of 39. He definitely looked great out there. I saw a good amount of this game. Um, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, 92.3 QBR. He also was leading rusher, 15 of 48 and 1 touchdown. He's so
That's
important to this Vanderbilt team.
that's what people don't talk about. Is Pavia is a good runner too. He's
Yeah,
actually a pretty
very
good athlete.
athletic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And honestly, Kentucky has a lot of good players. They have a lot of
they
athletes.
do.
They have a
They
lot
really
of
do.
NFL scouted talent.
Hmm.
So for Vanderbilt to do that to them, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
This game was 45-3 going into the fourth quarter.
I know.
I mean, that's incredible. In an SEC game where Kentucky's not bad.
Yeah.
So, wow. All I can
Yeah,
say
they
is they
scored two. Kentucky scored two touchdowns closer to the end to make it look
right.
kind of a little bit respectable, but it wasn't respectable.
I would say Vanderbilt is ready for the postseason. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
Wow.
they've got to get into the playoff.
Yeah, I think so. So this next game was the biggest surprise of the day. Pittsburgh, Heinzel. We were saying for a couple weeks
Yeah,
now he's a really good quarterback and he's coming on kind of.
yeah,
He
he's
played
really
the
good.
guy who a lot of people think was leading for the Heisman coming into this game, and that's Haynes King. Haynes King, I didn't think particularly had that bad a game, really. And actually, on offense, Georgia Tech wasn't terrible, but Pittsburgh wanted this game more. You could just feel it. They go out to a 21-0 lead in the first quarter, and they just hold on and to have a huge upset, and they put Georgia Tech into a really bad spot now in the playoff race. So, what's your thought on this big upset, and how do you think Pittsburgh did it?
Well, I thought they just looked super athletic compared to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech had power and all that, but it looked like when Ohio State beats Penn State. It just speed and athleticism versus size and strength. Um, I felt like Haynes King is a very good quarterback. He was forced to throw the ball too much, and they just didn't have enough rushing attack, which is strange for Georgia Tech. I always think of them as a real heavy running team.
And also,
But
Georgia Tech's defense is really good this year, and they were not good in this
yeah,
game. And so,
well, they were okay at times. I mean, they got 6 sacks.
mhm.
They had 6 sacks. That's a lot, and 7 tackles for loss. But they gave up, a good amount of points and a lot of big plays. So it was
Mhm.
both things. They played well on plays, and then they gave up big plays.
Mhm.
So I
That's right.
what I saw was an athleticism disparity.
That's right.
It looked like a bunch of track stars out there.
That's exactly right.
And it's weird for
So,
me because I'm trying to figure out how they've had these losses. They lost this year. Pitt lost to um,
well, they
West
got
Virginia,
blasted by
Louisville, and
and
Notre
Notre
Dame.
Dame. Yeah.
Louisville was pretty good back then. They were highly touted and ranked at the time. West Virginia kind of came out of nowhere. I remember that loss. That was a weird one because that surprised me, but I remember thinking maybe West Virginia is a little better than we thought. And then Notre Dame is just on a roll, so they kind of rampage through them. But um, I
I
don't know.
really like their coach
Good.
Narducci. I really think he's great. I love his energy. I love the way he coaches his
I do
team.
too.
He's a player's coach.
He kind of teaches intimidation.
He gets you pumped up. I'm sorry, he
It
does, even as a
intimidates
fan.
their opponents, I think.
Mhm. A little bit, yeah. And also, you and I have not been sleeping on Heinzel the last 4 or 5 weeks, but I think
No,
college football kind of has. I don't think people are really talking about him, but he's pretty impressive. I mean, the way he played this game and several others tells me that whether he
let's put
goes
it this way.
this year or
I
next
think
year,
Pitt is one of the top 3 teams or so that's not going to be in the playoff.
right? I agree with
That's what
that.
I think. I think they should be ranked, and they're not. I think they should be right outside the playoff, and I would not want to play them.
They just lost one too many games at the wrong time.
They might be the second or third best team in the ACC.
Well, they still could get to the playoff because here's the deal: after this game now, the teams that are sitting in prime position are Virginia and SMU. If Virginia and SMU win out, they play in the ACC championship in Charlotte.
Hmm.
If Virginia loses, Pittsburgh plays SMU for the ACC title. And if
Yeah,
Pittsburgh wins that game, even with 3 losses, they're going to go to the playoff.
they could get
So
in.
they
Yeah,
so they have a path,
yeah.
and they're the biggest Virginia Tech fans next week of anybody. Pittsburgh,
Uh,
yeah. So that's where it is right now. We're sitting in the ACC where Virginia and SMU have it in their hands.
and it has Miami coming to them next week.
Right. Yeah, so
That's
it
a
may
good one.
be moot because if they lose that game, of course they're out. So
Yeah.
Georgia Tech still
And
sitting in DC.
Miami's, by the way, Miami's trying to make the case to get in too. They really want to win that game.
They
It's
have
not
to.
some mail it in, let's put backups in because we're in already.
It's not want to win that game; they have to win that
They
game
have to win that game. I know.
because they can't go to the ACC championship.
Both
So
those teams are desperately playing each other, and they're both really good.
they both likely are not going to go to Charlotte to the ACC championship game, and they both want to get in. So it's going to be a really good game. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it. So this next game, Texas takes on Arkansas. You know, Arkansas is always tough. We always talk about them. They're 0-7 in the SEC, and yet
Yeah.
somehow every week they always push these big teams. And you know, I always talk about how they're not really a rollover. But Texas had a really good game. I thought Manning had by far his best game, 389 yards. He had 4 touchdowns passing. He had 1 rushing, and he had 1 receiving. He accounted for
That was
6
a really
touchdowns.
nice play.
Yeah, so he had 6
Really
touchdowns
nice
total,
play.
including 1 receiving. So thoughts on
Yeah.
this game and Arch kind of with his coming out party?
I think these are the kind of wins that you have as building blocks for next year, where your team starts to believe in you and know you can get it done against a good, solid SEC team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Arkansas is 0-7 in the SEC, and that doesn't look good. But they've been
Mm-hmm.
tough in most of those, and I thought Arch did himself proud. He did a good job of just running the offense and keeping his team in good positions. Made some plays. His touchdown catch was beautiful. Looked like his
It
dad.
was it was really
Looked
nice.
like Cooper back in the day. He was a real
Agreed.
good receiver.
Agreed. Cooper must have been really proud.
Yeah. So
So so incredibly, Texas at 8-3. If they win next week and go to 9-3, they are not out of the playoff picture altogether. There's going to be 5 SEC teams that get in, and they are going to need some help. So they need to win next week, and then they need a couple of the teams above them to lose, which is possible.
mhm.
And if that happens, they might slip in as the 5th SEC team. So they do have a lot to play for.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if they can make it in. It's not an easy path for them. They don't have everything in their own control. So
I'll
so
tell you
next
what, though, if
game.
they squeak in, nobody wants to play them.
Oh, I agree with that.
I
Hundred
mean,
percent.
there's
Some of
talent
their
everywhere on that team.
some of those weapons that we've been waiting to kind of light up are starting to do that in the late season, and I just wonder
Yeah.
why they didn't early season. Why
I
they
don't know. It
struggled.
didn't click. Something was
Yeah,
not clicking with the offense, but
yeah,
they got Wingo and Wisner and
yeah.
um
They're
they
loaded.
got weapons. They got they've got talent all across the team on both sides of the ball.
Now,
Especially
one thing I do need to mention is that they're a little concerned. Some of the analysts who follow Texas about Texas's defense. They've been the last couple of weeks giving up a
last
lot of
couple
yards, a lot
weeks.
of points, and
Yeah.
so you wonder heading into postseason if that defense can hold up against the really big teams, the Georgias of the world. So
Most of this year,
we'll see.
Texas has been dominant. I
Yeah.
think the last 2 weeks I'm a little concerned about how they played, but for the most part, I'd say they had a good year defensively. They've been one of the top teams in the country on defense. And they
That's right.
just kind of had a little let up games. But
Mhm.
yeah.
So this next game, Michigan, you've already mentioned this game. I thought this was by far their most impressive game of the year too.
Yeah.
45-20 against a pretty good Maryland team.
Yep.
And Underwood had a really nice, efficient day with 2 touchdown passes, and they ran the ball really well. Their defense was really smothering. Um, anything that you want to take away on this game?
It just seems like Underwood is growing up before our very eyes. 16 of 23, nice and efficient, 2 touchdowns. I think that they had an okay offense as far as balance. They were able to throw the ball, run the ball. Michigan the last few years has struggled to throw the ball, and I think
Right.
that this looks better. Maryland is not a good team record wise, but they have good players.
Hmm.
So this is still a good win, I think, on the road.
Well, what's amazing is this kid, Cutzel, who had such a good rushing day for Michigan. He's their backup running back.
Mm-hmm.
These big programs are just so deep. It's crazy.
They
And they
are
also
not as
have
deep as they used to be, but still
true.
deep. And yeah, everyone's got backups ready to go in if necessary.
And they had this kid Marsh, who's a great receiver too. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Don't sleep on Michigan. They're gonna be
Yeah,
a
I mean,
tough nut
I'd be
for
a
'em.
little nervous if I was Ohio State only because Ohio State has more to lose and Ohio State has more talent. They should roll over Michigan, but they're not going to. So it's going to be a really frustrating game
Mhm.
where it's going to be scratching, clawing. You're going to take the field goal. You're going
I
to
think you have to because both defenses are going to be really chippy. You know, Ohio State's defense is
be really
amazing,
chippy.
and Michigan's
People are going to,
defense is very good. So
everything's going to feel like disrespect. If they walk over your half field emblem, it's going to feel like they're
would,
disrespect. Like it's just teams don't
would
like
it
each other. It's always chippy.
would it shock you if it'd be like 21-17? I mean, it's that kind of game. That's what I think it's going to be. Cold
I don't
weather.
know. Hard to say.
Yeah,
Hard
we'll
to
see.
say. I think Ohio State should smoke them, but they kind of are inside their head now, so I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. I think they'll be a little careful. They don't want to throw any picks.
Yeah.
So this game, Tennessee wins 31-11. Joey
Hmm.
Aguilar, a nice efficient game. They ran the ball really effectively with three different running backs. This kid, Davis, they say is one of the best tight ends in football. He's going to be drafted 31-11. Of course, Florida's dealing without a coach right now. What's your takeaway on this? And we knew Tennessee was a good team, but they're kind of just on the outside looking in right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Florida just doesn't it just looks like the shell of themselves. I mean, to me it looked like um DJ Lagway was always running for his life.
Mm-hmm.
So that they could never really put anything together. And I felt like it was a pretty big disparity in talent level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I felt that same way. It feels like if Tennessee played Florida, second, third, fourth game of the year, it would have been closer and more tightly contested. But it feels a little bit like Florida's given up now.
It's odd to
Um,
talk about it now, but
I mean, I hate
at
to
the
say that,
beginning
but their
at the
offensive line
beginning
is so
at the
trash.
beginning of the year, there were high expectations for Florida. They
Mhm.
thought there was a lot of returning players. DJ Lagway was supposed to be in that mix of top tier quarterbacks. And this was probably the nightmare season for them. Like, I can't think of a team that is is bigger difference between what was expected of them and what they did.
That's true.
Because I heard a lot of pundits who I trust their judgment on, felt like Florida was going to be a pretty good team.
That's right.
So that was weird.
It was a weird one, but this is a fierce rivalry, and Tennessee got the better of them this time, and really they
Oh yeah,
should. They're ranked 20. So
yeah.
this next
Tennessee's a
game,
very good team.
this next game was the biggest upset in the Big Ten this weekend. Wisconsin had been
Hmm.
struggling to score all year, and they're playing a high-powered Illinois team with Altmaier. And they had a brilliant game plan. I thought they just put it on the ground and they ran it the entire game. They have this kid Dupree, who apparently NFL scouts have their eye on. He had a huge game, and a couple of his other backs had big games too.
Yeah,
Wisconsin essentially said, "We're just going to run the ball, play good defense, and keep the ball away from Altmaier," and it worked.
it did.
What's
Yeah,
your thought
Darian
there?
Dupree had 131 yards and two touchdowns. He was awesome, and yeah, they had several running backs who did well. I will say both defenses played pretty well. Both had 5 sacks and definitely had pressure. But somehow Wisconsin was able to mitigate that with a good running game. And
And played good
it,
defense when they needed to.
Illinois rushing was a nightmare.
Mhm.
Altmaier was their top rusher with 20 yards. Their
Mhm.
next guy, Valentine, had 18. That was their next leading rusher.
You just can't
Um,
win like
they
that in the
couldn't run
Big
the
Ten.
ball.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, you
uh,
just can't.
yeah,
So,
it
what
was
is
it
your
was. You know,
what's your overall thought about? I mean, you and I kind of picked Illinois as kind of a dark horse pick at the beginning of the
mhm.
year. Might be 9-2 or 10-1 or something, and they're sitting at 7-4. A little disappointing. Not
7-4 is
bad.
pretty good though. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not a
but
bad season. They
yeah.
definitely had wins. I mean, Wisconsin's 4-7. I
Yeah.
mean, whose record would you rather have? I'd rather have Illinois.
Well, I would too, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying they're a little below where you and I thought
I,
maybe they could get.
I agree. They're at 21 and getting smoked by Wisconsin. That's not a good sign. I think that they're not in the top 25. I thought in the beginning of the season they would be. Of course, I thought Florida would be in the top 25 too. So that there's a couple of misses there that I wasn't on target with. But the way Illinois' season has unfolded, this is not that big of a surprise. They
Hmm.
they've had enough bad weeks where it didn't work.
Yep.
I think
Right.
Altmaier's a good quarterback, a developmental
Hmm.
guy,
Hmm.
but I don't think they had as much talent on this team as you would hope for.
I agree with that. And Illinois has always been a great running team, and they're just not this year. They just
Yeah.
can't run the ball this year. So
They can
that's
get pressure, but they couldn't stop the run.
hmm. Yeah.
So
Next game, TCU takes out Houston, gives Houston their third loss of the year. Houston, for a long time, was considering themselves as one of the favorites for that number 12 spot in the playoff, but they've had 2 out of 3 losses here recently, and they've just fallen out of the mix. TCU is a pretty good program, so this is a tough fought match. Any takeaways on this one?
well, I watched a good amount of this one. TCU got out to kind of a fast start and uh, they just kind of hung on. And I think Houston tried to chip away, just never could quite get it done. I do think TCU looked like the better team,
Mm-hmm.
but TCU turned the ball over a lot. They had 3 picks,
They did.
so kudos to Houston's D to try and keep him in there. Um, but
I will say this
overall,
kid Hoover, though, when he wasn't throwing interceptions, he was pretty decent. I haven't really ever heard of
yeah,
him, but I thought he was
yeah,
pretty good.
he looked pretty good out there. He looked pretty smooth. Um,
So
yeah,
yeah, Houston. If anyone thought they had a chance, that pretty much was the nail in the
yeah,
doornail for
slam
them,
the door.
no doubt.
I wouldn't be surprised if TCU gets its way into the top 25. They're 7-4.
Possibly, yeah. So the team that has now taken over the lead in Las Vegas to get the number 12 spot in the playoff is Tulane. We've had about
Hmm.
10 teams that have been positioned for that, group of 5 spot that they leave one spot for. And everyone's now thinking this is the team that's going to do it. They absolutely destroyed Temple, and they're stating their case pretty strongly, I guess you could say. They do have one game left next week, and they need to win that one. And then it's looking pretty strongly that they're going to get in. They're going to be that number 12 team. What's your thought about this one?
So I definitely thought that, I mean, it looked to me like Tulane was the better team with Ratzlaff
Mm-hmm.
at quarterback. But Temple hung in there. They definitely, they're 5-6. They're,
Yeah, they're
you
they're
know,
decent. They're
they're an
decent. They're put up
okay
a fight.
program. They didn't do anything particularly special on offense at all, but I thought their defense played pretty tough for a while. But yeah, Tulane's better on both sides of the ball. They got 4
Mm-hmm.
sacks. They move the ball better. Um, they got they had 122-yard rushing, Jamari McClure. So they're hitting you pretty balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And Shaz Preston had 96 yards receiving and a touchdown.
Right.
So offensively and defensively, they were better than Temple, but the score didn't reflect that big of an imbalance. But I think it was pretty balanced, pretty imbalanced.
Completely agree. Do you think Retzlaff is a pro prospect?
I do.
Like what? Like a late round, fourth, fifth,
Yeah, fifth round.
kind of guy?
Yeah, fifth round, a
Developing.
guy that you get in, you have no pressure to play him the first 2 3 years. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
he's a backup journeyman, somebody that might work his way into being respectable 3 to 5 years into the league. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you just don't know until you get him into the systems and you see how they do. But yeah, I think so. I think he's been around a long time. He's got experience.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a pretty good program there. That's on the rise. and I think he'd be worth a late round shot.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing if Tulane can get it done. If they lose next week, the next team that's up that might take that 12 spot is James Madison University.
Hmm?
So they're probably going to be the biggest fans of whoever Tulane is playing next week.
Yep.
So we'll see if JMU can find a way in. It would be a miracle at this point, but it's possible. So this next game was very interesting because this is the first game that Sam Levitt has decided to sit out. We have such a weird situation in college football now with these transfer windows that you have guys taking themselves out off of their teams late in the season when they know the team can't make the playoff. And he's already decided he's transferring to Virginia Tech to play for James Franklin for an $11 million NIL deal, which is insane. And so no one really knew what Arizona State was going to look like in this game. They put in their backup quarterback Sims, and he did okay. He was efficient, but played a really bad Colorado team. And I just have to tell you, Robbie, I have been watching Deion Sanders' press conferences the last couple of weeks. It's almost like one of those wrecks you just can't unwatch. I don't know
Yeah.
why I keep watching because it's so depressing. Like he won't let any of his players talk, and he looks like he's in like some kind of therapy or something. It's gotten so bad in Colorado. It's really embarrassing at this point.
Yeah.
So, what's your take from this game and Arizona State, where they're going from here with Sims, who's going to be their quarterback next year too? And what does Dion do to try to get Colorado back on track?
Well, I think that Arizona State is a very good team. They're 25, but they should probably be higher. Um, Jeff Sims did a nice job. He did plenty um, to help his team win, but for the most part, it was a one-man show. Raleek Brown was unbelievable. I think he had probably the performance of the day.
Mm-hmm.
He had 255 rushing yards and a
Mm-hmm.
touchdown, and 33 receiving and a touchdown. He was
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable.
Yeah, what do you do with a guy who's never started before in Sims? You just give
Yeah,
him a
you
really
run.
good running game. That's what
Yeah,
you
you
do.
have him run the ball
Yeah.
and you have him spread it around, throwing the ball to the easy targets. And yeah, it seemed to me like Colorado was constantly. I mean, Brown just kept ripping off these long runs, and Colorado DBs couldn't catch him.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it looked like there was a speed problem there. I think there's a talent problem in Colorado.
A huge talent problem. He said a couple weeks ago, he said, "Stick with me, guys. You have the right man." He's basically talking to Colorado administration. You have the right man. Just give me time. Just give me time. So he's basically begging them not to fire him. We'll see.
I wouldn't fire him because I don't think there's. I mean, you're not going to necessarily just go get somebody better, but
Well,
you can voice displeasure.
you lose Shador, you lose Shiloh, you lose Travis Hunter, is the Heisman Trophy winner. You
Yeah,
lose all these
it
guys,
hurts.
and he just wasn't able to replace them.
No.
They just had no dynamic offense this year. So, Robbie,
Yeah.
last question on this game. Doesn't it just feel strange that we're in an era of college football where a major quarterback would pull himself out of the season towards the end of the year, even before the bowl game, and save himself for the
Yeah.
next year? I mean, doesn't it just seem strange?
Yeah, but I'll be
In
honest
the
with you.
old days, these guys
I
wanted to
wouldn't
play.
want I wouldn't want a quarterback like that. Not as
Yeah,
my leader.
yeah. I just
Talk about
don't
a
know.
me person. I mean, I don't know him and all the particulars, but he's a part of a team and he needs to be available for his team to try and, you know, try and
I'm
win.
very I'm very queasy about this situation in college football that we have situations like this where they're taking themselves out of their team.
You
And
never know. You're in 25 and then after this week, they're probably gonna be a little higher
yeah,
and people above you might start losing. I mean, you could fight your way in or get to a really incredible bowl game and put your
he's
name on the map for all the scouts.
he
I
made
don't
the
know.
determination his team's out of it, and he's going to save himself for the big money next year. I just
I
don't
think it's
like
a
it.
mistake.
So, drop us a comment, guys, what you think of this situation where these quarterbacks are deciding not to play at the end of the year. It's really
I think it's short-term thinking.
very disheartening for me, I think. So we have one more game we got to talk about. We got to talk about this game right here where NC State gets bowl eligible. I was really
Yep,
happy for them. They beat Florida State.
that was awesome.
Castellanos had an okay game, not great, but Hollywood Smothers comes back. He'd been out for a couple of weeks, played really well. NC State at home gets it done, 21-11. So what's your
Star of the
takeaway here?
game was the punter.
That's right.
He was.
A punting
He,
battle.
he was. He kicked a ball and it hit the back of a Florida State helmet and bounced all the way back and he dove on it, the punter.
Yeah, right.
So he got his own ball back for his team. And then on another one, he kicked it real deep, and the Florida State guy muffed it off his pads, and they got another recovery. So that was huge, you know.
Yeah, right. So what's your take on NC State getting bowl eligible again? They really
I
fought
love
hard,
it.
and the fact that Florida State again is going to have another losing season.
I feel a little bad for Florida State these days. I really do. I think they are. I really like Norville as a coach. I understand not feeling like that's an acceptable season. I get that. I understand. 5-6. You're not used to that at Florida State.
Well, they want to get back to the glory days where it was automatic. They were 9-2 every year. It makes
But who
sense.
doesn't, you know?
Yeah,
I think you just
that's
stay
right.
with it. Castellanos had a pretty good game overall. Um,
So they had two announcements after the game. I thought was really positive for Florida State. They decided that they're going to retain Norville for one more year,
mhm. Yeah.
and the the athletic director was incredibly open about all the reasons. He had about five different reasons, and one of them was there's so many other openings in college football. I'm not sure who we could get better than Norvell. And I thought you weren't really supposed to say those kind of things in open
Yeah.
to the press, but he did say it. He also announced that Castellanos has decided to come back for another season, which I thought was pretty incredible. Apparently, he has asked
Good.
for a special exemption because this would be his sixth year for him.
Hmm.
So we'll see if the NCAA grants it. I don't know if they will or not, but if not, he'll be on to the NFL to try to be probably a practice squad quarterback at first.
I like him. I think he's a talented player.
You think
Not
Florida State
sure.
made the right decision to stay with Norvell for another year?
Oh yeah. I would not have gotten rid of Norvell. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's a good coach. I think he's had two disastrous seasons back to back, but I'm not on the short um end of firings. I think there's way too much firing without a game plan. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think teams get better just by getting rid of somebody in anger. And then, like for instance, if you look at some of the teams like LSU, look at LSU. What a disaster they've done. Okay. So LSU has sent out the signal that when a coach isn't doing what you want, you'll fire him. Then you'll
Mm-hmm.
then you'll say you're not actually firing him. You're holding him to like not performing type of deal and try and screw him out of all of his money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go ahead and fire him officially.
Right.
And the governor's involved and there's all this political pressure. Who the heck in their right mind would take that job based on those set of circumstances? I wouldn't. They're fighting to take his money away. They're fighting like the governor's involved in all this. Uh, I don't know. You can really do some damage if you're not careful on on the signals you're sending for anybody who might be interested in coming to your team. So
100% true.
you got to
Well,
make sure that you fire in a way that you know you're going to have to hire somebody and they're watching what you're doing.
so last year he was 2-10. This year he's 5-6. Could be 6-6 if they win next week. So that is an improvement.
And
So
you
the
know what?
question,
Coaches
but
are
but I
watching that. Coaches are watching that saying, "Hey, I like how they're giving him chances. I like how because that's all you do. that's all you'd want to ask for
But
is
there's not endless chances. Like if he goes,
no, no.
four
It
and eight
has to
next
be done
year,
properly. It has to be done with accountability. But
if
at
he
the
goes
same
four,
time,
if he goes four
these
and eight next
teams
year, he's done.
these teams that fire coaches that are doing a good job overall, like firing James Franklin is insane. He won all these games. He won Big Ten, championship. He won a whole lot of games. He was
Took them to the
really close
playoff
to
last
getting
year.
yeah, in the playoff, really close to getting into finals. I mean, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
you
I
don't
know.
fire a guy because you're mad at him because you lost. I get it. You've lost some big games. Hey, you're in big games. The reason they're big is because your program matters.
That's
So
right. That's right.
uh, I don't understand it. I'm not a fire everyone guy.
Yeah,
Um, I could be mad just like the next guy, the next person. Sure, I
I'm
can be
with you.
very disappointed, and I can wring my hands and even I'll throw my own version of a tantrum, but I'm not going to fire somebody without a plan on how we
Hmm.
get better from this.
That's right. All right, let's take a look at the college football bracket if it ended today, which it won't. There's still another week left, but this is what they say it would look like. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Mississippi, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Alabama, Virginia, and Tulane. So that's what it would
Mhm.
look like if it ended today. Pretty incredible if you think about that. And here's what your first round would look like. You'd have Tulane take on Texas Tech, Virginia take on Oregon, Alabama against Ole Miss, and then Oklahoma against Notre Dame. Man, that'd be a good game.
Mhm.
So, what's your take, Robbie, on if this ended today and what these projections look like to you?
I mean, I think it looks pretty exciting. I think it's all the conferences are represented. A lot of these teams had really special seasons. The one I would really like to see would be Alabama Ole Miss,
Mm-hmm.
but
That'd be a good, really good game.
Oklahoma Notre Dame would be a close second for me.
Yeah, that'd be a really good game too.
Hmm.
I'd like to see that high-powered offense Notre Dame has up against that vaunted defense. See who comes out
Yeah,
on top.
yeah.
So really exciting to think about this, guys. This projection. This is, of course, a week early and may not come out this way, but we'll continue to track it for you guys and see where we land on the college football playoff. So we're going to listen to Greg Presley, and we're going to look at some of the big games next week as we close it
Hmm.
out. So the first one is Ole Miss plays Mississippi State. You talked about the last weekend of the year is always the big rivalries. So it's a lot of fun to see these interstate rivalries happen, where a lot of times these states have actually a trophy that's given to the winner of the state. That'll be a fun one. Any thoughts about that game?
I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think
Well, man, Mississippi State stretched some
Ole,
people this year.
Ole Miss should rampage on them in the second half. I'll bet you it's
Yeah,
pretty close in the beginning. The
yeah,
crowd's gonna be pumped. It's gonna be at Mississippi State.
yep.
That's a tough place to play. But I think Ole Miss will take control and just win by 10 or more, you know.
I agree. 100% agree. So the next game's Utah, Kansas. Utah, of course, has everything to play for. They've
Same
got to
kind of
keep
game,
them
really. I think Utah takes control
in the
and
second
just
half.
pounds
Yeah.
on them in the second half.
Kansas is the kind of team that can keep it close for a half because they run the ball pretty well.
Mhm.
This kid Daniels for them is pretty good too. Um, but Utah should take control and they should score so many points Kansas can't keep up. That's the way I look at it. Next game is a big one. Georgia, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech absolutely has to find a way to win this game. I don't know how
Mhm.
they could. I don't think they have enough, me personally. But Haynes King, who's sitting there
It,
in the Heisman conversation, playing against Stockton. What's your thought about this one?
Georgia Tech has to run the ball a lot better than they did this week, if they have any chance, because Haynes King can't be running for his life.
This game's in Atlanta. Do you think this game could be close, or do you think Georgia takes control?
Yeah, I think if Georgia Tech is running the ball and keeps the number of possessions down, keeping the score down, I think it could be close. But if it gets into a
Mhm.
shootout and Kirby Smart's one of the best coaches in football, I think They can't let it start to get away from them, or Georgia's going to just whoop them.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it'll be close for a half. I think Georgia Tech will fight hard. They always do. They have really good character on that team, but I think Georgia's too much. I think they're just playing too well right now. I think you see them win by 2 touchdowns at least. That's my prediction. We'll
I think
see.
it's be
We'll see.
I think it's be close for a while.
I hope it's a good
I
game.
think
This is
late second
in
half Georgia will score and make it look worse.
it's in Atlanta, so you would think that Georgia Tech might have a little bit of a advantage, but it's not at Georgia Tech's home stadium. It's at the Falcons Mercedes-Benz Dome.
I
So,
will say though that Pitt looked much more athletic than Georgia Tech. So imagine how
mhm.
Georgia is going to make Georgia
Oh my
Tech look.
goodness, with that big offensive line, that big defensive line.
The
Yeah, I
the
think
DBs, the linebackers, like everyone flying around the ball. Hmm,
I think Georgia ends up taking control in the second half. So
probably.
the battle for Indiana, there actually is a trophy in this game. It happens every year, and it's between Indiana and Purdue. Purdue's one of the worst teams, maybe the worst team in the Big Ten. So
Yeah,
I think this game will be over at halftime. What's your
it
thought on
shouldn't
this
be
one?
close. Shouldn't be close.
They're favored by 28 and a half.
Yeah.
So I think it's a tune-up for Mendoza and team. Texas A&M, Texas. There's also a trophy in this one
This is a good
every
one.
year. Yeah, it's actually the bovine trophy. It's all around steers and stuff. What do you think about this game, man? I mean, this is hard to handicap. It's at Austin.
Yeah.
A&M's favored by 2.5.
I think it's a coin flip. I think Texas and A&M are very close in talent levels. Um, I like I like Elko a lot. So um, Sarkeesian's really creative on offense. He might get some things going there. I don't know. I think that it's going to be
I
an
think
incredible clash
every,
of good defenses.
I think everyone in the country will be watching this game. I really
Yeah.
do. Concepcion, of
My
course,
boy Concepcion's out
what is
there,
going
so
on.
he's going to be doing a lot.
I like A&M to get this one done, but just barely, like 31-28. I think it's going to be a really good
I
game.
think it's going to come down to really at the end, somebody's going to make a play, and I don't know which team it is. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
It's going to feel
If
like a playoff game.
I had to bet, I'd say A&M's going to win this game, but barely. Maybe even a
Yeah,
last
if I
second
had to
field
bet
goal.
your house, I'd probably say I'm just kidding. No, I really think it's going to come down to like a crazy play. Like,
Yeah, maybe an
it's not going to be
interception in the fourth quarter or
70
something.
to 7.
No way. Agreed. So then you got Arizona State, Arizona, another in-state rivalry. Arizona's been actually really tough this year.
Yeah.
And because Arizona State's got the backup quarterback and he's struggling a little bit, I kind of like Arizona to upset him in this game.
Yeah, I think it's
Arizona's full
possible.
team. Yeah. You just don't know in these kind of games, but
This is
I
a
like
tough
Arizona.
match. Yeah, the blood match.
Matter of fact, Arizona is favored on the road in this game, so it's kind of interesting.
Mm.
Maybe because Sam Levitt's not playing. So then the big one, Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday.
Awesome. Yeah.
Man, is that going to be a game? So there's a couple games next weekend people are very excited about. This is one of them for sure.
Yeah, that's one of them for sure.
That's a classic every year you have to watch if you're a college football fan. Texas Tech, West Virginia. Texas Tech should take care of business in the first half in this one, I would think.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then the one you've already mentioned, Miami, Pittsburgh. Both teams
Super
actually
excited about that.
have a lot on the line in this game.
Yeah.
Do you think Miami can go into Pittsburgh into the cold weather? They're saying it might be below 40 and get this
Yeah, I
done.
do think so.
Okay. Reasons?
Well, I think Miami has enough athleticism to hang with Pittsburgh in that department. I think that Beck has had really good games all year, except for the couple of bad games where he's
Mm-hmm.
looked terrible. So it's strange. I think that Miami's kind of clicking for the most part.
He can't throw 2 picks like he does sometimes. He just can't do
Yeah,
it.
no, No, he
Yeah.
has to have a clean sheet and a really good game, but he does that most of the time.
Hmm.
So
I would think Miami's.
Malachi Tony is kind of unstoppable.
I think Miami's likely going to win this game, but I would not be shocked if Pittsburgh knocks them off at all.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh may be a little bit better than Louisville, and Louisville did it. So
Pittsburgh is better than Louisville in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, and Louisville beat Miami. So
Yeah.
you got Houston Baylor, another intrastate Texas rivalry. That'll be a pretty good one, I think. Baylor
Yeah.
always plays pretty
Baylor's
tough.
down a little bit, not as good as they have been.
Yeah. Then you got UCF BYU. BYU has to find a way to win that game to continue to stay in place.
I think BYU
Oregon
takes this easy.
Washington, of course, is a huge rivalry. That'll be a great game.
Yeah.
Been playing better lately, so they'll
Yeah.
push them. You got LSU Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got to find a way to win that game against a depleted LSU team this year. You have an excellent matchup in Vanderbilt, Tennessee,
Yeah.
and
That's one of
Vanderbilt,
my top
Tennessee.
three. Vanderbilt, Tennessee is gonna be an awesome game.
Yep, that's the Tennessee State Championship there. Missouri, Arkansas, another interstate rivalry, big
Hmm.
rivalry for a long time. UCLA, USC, UCLA,
Mm,
USC. What do you think?
I don't think UCLA can hang with them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They've really faded the last couple of weeks. The big game we care about, Virginia and Virginia Tech. They've beaten us
Yeah.
14 out of 15. And it just feels like one of these years we're finally going to get it done. I just don't know when. I'm not even going to
I don't
predict this
know. I've felt that way the last 5 years and we never have. So
one. I mean, we do have the better team this year, but that doesn't mean
we
anything in
should,
this.
but I mean most of those last 5 years we did too.
Yeah.
They
It's
just
like
haven't.
I think we have the yips with Virginia Tech the way that Ohio State has it with Michigan. It's that same kind of, it's a mental
I think
thing.
I think sometimes teams
It's the
panic
yip.
when they're going up against a team they really want to beat and they kind of go out of their comfort zone in their system and they try too hard and they start messing up and then it gets
Mhm.
worse and snowballs out of control. That seems like every year that happens.
I thought it was big respect by ESPN to Virginia's program this year that they moved us from a noon to a 7 p.m. kickoff on ESPN.
Yeah.
That's a big compliment because that shows you how much this game means for Virginia and for the ACC overall. So that was pretty cool to see. Alabama Auburn, of course, every year they call it the Iron Bowl. There's actually an Iron Bowl trophy for that game, so that'll be a fun one. You got Illinois Northwestern, it's another big rivalry. Tulane has everything to play for with Charlotte. They should blow them out. Breslau's playing really well. And then the
Most likely.
final game to talk about is Notre Dame Stanford. Used to be a really good game every year, but Stanford's really
Yeah, I don't
struggled.
feel much of that this year. I think it
Yeah,
should be a blowout.
yeah,
I'll have backups in by halftime.
I think so. So man, that's quite a slate
So
there for next weekend.
I'm super excited about Georgia, Georgia Tech, Miami, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Ohio State, Michigan, Texas A&M, Texas, and Vanderbilt, Tennessee. Those are the big marquee.
And how do you watch all six? I mean, it's crazy. It's going to be a whole
I'm
day.
gonna have both phones going. Uh,
Although some of them are on
Multiple
Friday,
TV.
some of the games are on Friday and some are on Saturday,
True,
so that gives
that's
you a
true.
little
They are
bit better
spread out a
chance.
little bit.
Yeah, so that helps.
We're gonna have a lot of TV viewing this weekend, man.
And I'm gonna be
Starting
hanging with
Thursday.
you and the boys, so we're gonna be watching some good sports.
We're gonna be in the recliner with our
Mhm.
notes out, watching every game.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
So
great.
guys, next weekend's on campus review is gonna be a lot of fun. We got a lot of great games to talk about. So
Yep.
guys, thank you for joining this week on campus review. You hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot of great games that just happened, and there's even more great games coming up this weekend. And so we will look forward to bringing all that really important information to you next weekend.
Yeah, and keep an eye out for all the different sports that are going on campus too. There's so much championships in like we said, track and field hockey and swimming
Soccer,
and
all the soccer's going
soccer.
on. Mhm.
Yeah, really good stuff going on. We're kind of early in the stages. They're doing the seeding for some of the tournaments, and college basketball is getting rolling. So
Mhm.
that's fun to see. There's a lot of new coaches this year, it seems like.
Mhm.
So a
There is.
lot of new programs are starting, and that's exciting to see their different styles and how the styles are challenging some norms, and but very exciting. A lot going on campus right now. Let's put it that way.
So next weekend, we're going to dip into those big 6 games Rob talked about, and then we're also going to do a quick dip into some of these championships because it'll be second round by then. Especially on the soccer side, we'll take a look at some of the results
Yeah,
and
volleyball, soccer, so much good stuff.
field
Really
hockey.
exciting. And a lot of
Mhm.
these sports get a little tiny bit forgotten because they're not heavy TV sports
We
and
do.
they're not the major ones, but they really matter. And there's a lot of good action in all these sports. So we'll be bringing you more in the future too.
Guys, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for tuning in and all your great comments. We've really enjoyed them very much. And we'll see
Thank,
you next time.
Thanks for all your support over these last couple of years. We love hearing from everybody. Great ideas out there. And thanks a lot, Greg Presley, for your great idea. Keep the comments coming. We love hearing from you all, and we'll catch up with you soon.
That really is a great idea because we've always looked backwards when we bring on campus reviews, and it's kind of cool to look at some of the matchups coming up. I like that.
Yeah, we do like to prognosticate slightly, so that is fun for us.
A lot of fun. Guys, we'll see you next time on the Sports Guys. Have a great one.
Thanks. We'll see you.